book besties, welcome back to another video. We are here with, I cannot believe it, an end of the year book tag. My dog is here. Hello, come here. Come here. Say hello. Hello. We are here with an end of the year book tag and I truly cannot believe it. Hey book besties, welcome back to another video. My name is Delaney. If you are new here, hey book besties, welcome back to another video. My name is Delaney. If you're new here, hey book besties, welcome back to another video. I am here with, I cannot believe it. Hey book besties, welcome back to another video. My name is Delaney. If you are new here, we are back with a super exciting, Delilah, the noise. My dog is eating, her toenails are clicking on the floor. Hey book besties, welcome back to another video. My name is Delaney. If you are new here, we are back with a video that I cannot believe we are already making, and that is the end of the year book tag. How are we already in the middle of December? Like, I truly cannot believe it, but this has been a phenomenal year of reading for me. I really fell back in love with reading in 2021, 2022, but 2023 has been probably my best reading year ever. I have read the most books, I've read the most variety of books, and I just have loved reading more than I think I ever have before. Like, I feel like a kid again with reading and how much I love it, and it is so special. It has truly changed my life. And this year I started like booktube and book talk and all the things, and the community around it is phenomenal, and I can't say enough good things. And so this end of the year book tag, like, yes, it's fun and it's lighthearted, but it's also like really meaningful to me because 2023 really was the year of reading for me, and it has done so much for my mental health and my community aspect and connection, and it's just so soul fulfilling. And so, not to start off all sappy and get all cringy and gross, but I am just so grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful for all my TikTok fam, and yes, I love it. I love it so much. Reading has truly changed my life, and I'm so excited for this little yearly recap book tag. And yeah, we can just dive right in. I think there's like 22 questions or something. It's over 20 questions. Let me look here. I got this from Dez's video, and if you know Des, like, she is just the best ever, and she posted this and I was like, this is such a fun tag. So copied the questions from her description box, and I'm gonna do my own little spin on it. So this is the end of the year book tag, and we're gonna go through 22. There's 22 bookish questions that we're gonna fly through here and just kind of recap our year of reading together, and my favorites, my least favorites, all the things. So let's dive right in. Starting off Starting off with a more controversial one, and that is the most disappointing read of the year. And I'm gonna have to say the Knock 'Em Out series. I was so excited to read these books. I've heard phenomenal things from literally everybody before I read these books about like the stories and Lucy's score as a whole and the series and Knox and Naomi and all the characters. Like, this is so many people's like favorite romance series, and I was like, I cannot wait to pick these up. I went to Target when they had a buy one get one sale once, and I got these, and I struggled to get through things we never got over. I think I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I did not like Knox. I did not like how grumpy he was. Like, he crossed the line from grumpy into just being an asshole, in my opinion. I did not like him. Like, I had a hard time rooting for them together because he was so rude. And then I picked up Things We Hide from the Light, and I DNF'd it. I couldn't even get through the audiobook. And normally if I'm struggling to read, I will pick up the audiobook, and sometimes that's easier because like I'll go for walks and I'll listen to them and it's easier for me to get through. I couldn't even get through the audiobook. Like, these books are just not for me. And so I was excited because the third one came out this past year, and I started these right before the third one came out because I wanted to pick it up and read it and like experience the hype of the new release, and everyone was so excited, and it just wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy this series. I definitely would say like this was a 2-star, this was a DNF. So this series really disappointed me because I had heard phenomenal things about it, and it just wasn't for me. It was a letdown for me. Next is the Underdog book of the year, and I struggled to pick one of these. I think I narrowed it down to 2 that I need to talk about, and one of them is actually a reread for me. That is The Wish by Nicholas Sparks, and I feel like you think of Nicholas Sparks, I feel like you think of Nicholas Sparks and you think The Notebook, and that's about it. But this book is amazing. In my mind, I had Nicholas Sparks like a cheesy mom romance author, kind of like, I don't know. It just like wasn't really on my radar. And then I read Every Breath, which I loved. And then I read The Wish, which is one of my all-time favorite books. And I don't think it gets the hype that it deserves. And so this is definitely an underdog book. I'm counting it for this year, even though I read it for the first time last year. I reread it this year and blew me away again. And yes, definitely an amazing book. And the second one that I need to mention is The 7 Days in June. This is such a great book. Second chance romance, chronic illness representation. Both the main characters are successful authors, so there's kind of that bookish trope. I loved this book. And I know like 7 Days in June, it sounds like a summary book, but you could literally read this any time of year and it's amazing. It's one of my favorite romances. I love this book and I cannot recommend it enough. I don't know why more people aren't talking about it. Ooh, we have another controversial one here. The next question is a book that was overhyped, and I'm gonna upset a lot of people with this one. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I didn't hate it. Like, I filmed a whole Fourth Wing vlog, so you know all my deep, dark thoughts on this book. I didn't hate it. I really didn't hate it. But do I think that it deserves the hype that it got? Absolutely not. This was like a 3-star for me. I felt like it was too long. I felt like it was really drug out. I got bored with like the constant battling scenes over and over and over again. Wasn't my favorite book by any means this year. And a lot of people, I think here's the problem. I read it later than a lot of people did. And I think I had seen months and months of buildup, months and months of hype, people giving it 5, 6 stars. And so I was like, this book is going to absolutely change my life. And I think that is a recipe for disaster when you go in with such high expectations for a book. So this was definitely, what was the prompt? Overhyped. Yeah, this was definitely overhyped to me, and not in the sense that I hated it. I didn't think it was a bad book, but definitely wasn't worth the hype that I think that it got. Sorry. Next up, we have favorite book couples of the year, and there's no way I could pick just one, so I have 3 here. First up is Clementine and Iwan from The 7-Year Slip. Their romance, their story, their connection, their banter, their nicknames. I loved this book so much. It's one of my favorite books of the year. I can't say enough good things. I really don't have anything to elaborate. Wow, I love them. I love them so much. Next is a no-brainer, another favorite of the year, and that is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Abby Jimenez writes some of my favorite characters in general and some of my favorite character connections for sure. So Jacob and Brianna in this book, I love them. I love Jacob in general, and the way that they loved and cared for each other and connected and got to know each other was beautiful. I love this book with my whole heart. I love them with my whole heart. The romance, chef's kiss, absolutely phenomenal. Then of course, we have Reich and Daisy, and like the bar is Reich Meadows. I would die for Reich Meadows. I can't. This is part of the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. This is book... I honestly don't even remember what book this is. It's pretty deep in the series, but wait to get to Reich and Daisy's stories. I love Lily and Lo. I love the Addicted series, like them and their story. I love them. I love Rose and Connor too. Reich and Daisy have my entire heart. They are my favorite couple, I think, of all time in the bookish world. I can't say enough good things about them. I love Reich. I love Daisy as their own individuals. I love them together. I love their relationship. Yes, I love them. They're probably my all-time favorite. Probably my favorite. I love this book. I love them. Amazing. Question 5 is your favorite main characters of the year, and I have a few here as well. So I'm gonna go quick. Daisy Calloway, one of my favorite characters of all time. I love her as a whole. I'm not gonna elaborate a ton because if you know, you know, and I just love Daisy Calloway. She's phenomenal. She's like her own person. She's spunky, she's wild, she's unique, she's strong. I love her. I love her so much. And then again, Jacob in this book, the most pure, beautiful, realistic representation of anxiety that I have ever seen in a book or any media for that matter. I loved Jacob. I related to him so much. And I think having a main character with something that I also struggle with, like having anxiety, was so beautiful in so many ways. I felt so seen, I felt so heard, I felt so understood. Absolutely amazing. I love Jacob with my whole heart. The next one's a bit of an unexpected one, and that is Tara from X's and O's. This, I didn't expect to love this book as much as I did. It's like a cheesy influencer rom-com, but I've loved it so much. There's like a firefighter romance. Most of all though, I just loved Tara, the main female character in this book. She was quirky, she was funny, she was relatable, she was kind of a mess and chaotic and just so relatable in so many ways, and I adored her, and she's the main reason I love this book so much. So Tara from X's and O's is book 2 in the influencer series. Book 3 actually comes out in 2024, which I'm excited for, but love this book, love Tara, love the main character. Great, great book. Question 6 is books that surprised you, and that is the Natural series. I only have the first 3 here because I'm actually in the middle of the 4th one, the last one, and I forgot to bring it out here. But the Natural series surprised me in multiple ways. Surprised me because I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, and also surprised me because, yeah, because they are surprising. They are thriller mysteries, and I was shook to my very core at these books. I love this series so much. I cannot recommend it enough. I was, like I said, surprised to love it as much as I did, and the endings of these books shocked me every single time. We're 3 for 3, about to be 4 for 4, I'm guessing, with just being absolutely shocked. So I wasn't sure which way to take this with like book that surprised you, but these surprised me in every way. So I was like, this is a good pick. Question 7 is a new favorite author that you discovered this year. And first of all, Abby Jimenez, like probably one of my all-time favorite authors, definitely my favorite author of the year. New to me this year, and how was I not reading all of her stuff beforehand? Like, I am obsessed with Abby Jimenez now. Favorite author of the year, new favorite author. Love. I love everything I've read from her. And then another one is Catherine Center, and my favorite books by her are Hello Stranger, The Bodyguard, and How to Walk Away. Those 3 books in particular made me fall in love with Catherine Center's writing. I love Catherine Center's strong female main characters. I think that is my favorite part about her writing, but she also does a really amazing job of like crafting her stories where it almost feels like a female literary fiction book with a romance subplot, which I really enjoy reading. I love strong female leads, and her books are rich with plot, rich with emotion, connection, relationships, family dynamics, friendships, romantic relationships, like everything is just packed into her books, and I love them so much. Book 8 is the happiest read of the year, and I would have to say The 7-Year Slip. This book, I took this question to mean like the book that made me feel the happiest, and that is this book. I was in tears at the end of it for like a good reason. I loved this book so very much, and it made me feel all the feels. So happiest book of the year for sure. Plus it has a bright yellow cover, so that's kind of happy as well. Book 9 is the most frustrating book that you read this year, and I have 2. First up is The House in the Pines, and this is a thriller that I'm so sorry, I hated it. This was actually a DNF for me, and I DNF'd this book at like 70% of the way through. I was almost done with this book, and I was like, I literally cannot go on because I am hating every word that I'm reading. And I hate being negative about books. I hate feeling like I am hating on an author or like anyone that has read this book and enjoyed it. Never, ever is that my intention. But for me, this was probably my most frustrating book of the year. I could not get through it. I did not like this book at all. And another one that was really frustrating for me because it felt so long and repetitive was Wrong Place, Wrong Time. And the premise of the story is a mom watches her son stab somebody and witnesses it, and then from there on she ends up waking up one day in the past, one day in the past, one day in the past, and she has like opportunities to try to change the path of her son and like shift his behavior and like prevent that from happening. But the repetitiveness of this book was, it just felt so redundant with like constantly waking up in the past. I was like, I was getting so bored. And I think I've seen this trope done, like reliving the same day, kind of that Groundhog's Day trope. I've seen it done well in some books, but this one was not one of them in my opinion. Was so bored, was so frustrated reading this, and it couldn't end soon enough for me. Number 10 is the best adaptation of the year, and you already know what I'm gonna say. Daisy Jones and the Six. This book, I would say I'm like equal parts in love with the book and the show, which never, ever happens for me. I always like the book more. I see a lot of people hate this book and they're like, I DNF'd it at like a quarter of the way through because I couldn't get into it and the interview style was terrible. I'm with ya. I hated this book at first. I almost DNF'd it. And then I made a little sticky note of who all the characters were, and I used that as my bookmark so I could keep track as I was learning them. By the end of this book, I was sobbing. This was a 5-star read for me by the end. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Daisy Jones and the Six, and I love the show adaptation of Daisy Jones and the Six. I think it was so well done. You can definitely tell that Taylor Jenkins Reid rolled up her sleeves and had a hand in it. Like 100% you can tell that she helped craft it, because I think it was so well done and it remains so true to the story, and that's the reason that I loved it so much. Question 11 and 12 are quick ones, and that is the longest book of the year, and that for me was Some Kind of Perfect. This is the 10th book in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. It's the epilogue novel, the very last book, and this was just over 700 pages, and that's the longest book that I read this year, and also one of my favorite books this year. 6-star read for me. You can tell I tabbed the living daylights out of it. I love this book. This is my favorite series of all time, and maybe my favorite book of all time. I love it. But yeah, that's the longest book I read this year. Then the shortest book I read this year, I don't know if it counts if it's like technically a novella, but that was Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was quick. It's written like letter style, so every chapter is a letter back and forth between two characters. It was a cute story. It was sad. It was emotional. It was a novella. You know, it was a novella, but that was the shortest book of the year. Favorite covers of the year, and I'm gonna have to go with the Shatter Me series as a whole, but specifically Unravel Me, because, okay, does anyone else struggle to like get books out of these boxes? Come on. So all of the Shatter Me covers are gorgeous, but specifically Unravel Me I think is stunning. I think it's because I'm a pink girly and I love the pink on this cover. I just think it is so beautiful, so pretty, and this wasn't my favorite book of the series. Ignite Me is actually by far my favorite book of the series, but the cover of this one is unmatched. I think it's stunning. Question 14 is a book you haven't stopped thinking about, and I'm gonna have to go back to the Natural series with this one, specifically the first, whoa, these are out of order. Specifically the first two, so The Naturals and Killer Instinct were my favorite books in the series thus far. These are two that the endings absolutely shocked me. They were my favorite shocking books of the year, and I still think about them nearly every day, and I read them a little while ago, so they definitely have stuck with me. My most memorable reads so far this year, and books that I just can't stop thinking about. They're amazing. They're on my mind all the time, and I cannot wait to finish this series. I'm actively in the middle of the 4th book, so stay tuned for my final The Natural series recap coming up. Question 15 is the cringiest book that you read this year, and I'm going to have to say All the Bright Places, and I am so upset and so disappointed to say that, because this gets such amazing reviews on GoodReads. Like, it has one of the highest rated average ratings on my GoodReads, and I was excited to pick this up. This is a YA book that talks a lot about mental health, and I felt that the way mental health was described was a bit irresponsible at times. The way the YA romance was described felt a little bit cringy to me, to be honest. I didn't enjoy this book. I really didn't. I gave it like a 2.5 stars. I felt like it was cringy, and I'm not a YA person in general. There's a few that I like. I like 1,000 Boy Kisses. I like If He Had Been With Me, but YA in general for me is not my favorite. I do find it tiptoes on that cringe line a little bit more than other romances and other books, so kind of my own fault that I went into this with such high expectations, knowing that YA isn't necessarily my favorite, but probably the cringiest book of the year for me, yeah. Question 16 is an unpopular book that you loved. The Wish. I already talked about it. I talk about it anytime I'm prompted with a question about a book that deserves more hype, a book that is underrated, an unpopular book. The Wish, The Wish, The Wish. I love this book so much. I have some other ones that I love, and I have a whole video of like books that deserve more hype, but I don't think I read any of those this past year, so I couldn't include this in this end of the year tag. But The Wish, I reread this year, so I could technically count it, and yeah, unpopular book that I love, and more people need to talk about it. End of story. Question 17 is a fun one, and is what is the highest and lowest rated books you read this year on GoodReads, and do you agree? So I was expecting to not agree with these, but based on what I've literally already said, you're gonna know that I do kind of agree with these, because the highest rated is Some Kind of Perfect, and I told you this is like a 6-star read for me, Infinity Star series, and I told you blatantly that this is maybe my favorite book of all time. So heck yeah, I agree that this is the highest that this should be the highest rated. So heck yeah, I agree that this should be the highest rated book of the year for me. And then this was funny to me, because literally I had already like gone through the first questions and talked about how much I disliked this book, and then I got to this question, and this, no joke, was the lowest rated book on my GoodReads. The House in the Pines. You know, I agree. 100% I agree. This is maybe my least favorite book of the year. Yes, I agree with that, 100%. Next is favorite quotes of the year, and I'm not gonna dig into super specifics because I found some and I was gonna use like specific quotes, and then I was like, that's kind of like borderline on spoiler territory, so I got a little bit nervous. But 7 Year Slip as a whole, Ashley Poston's writing is poetic, and like literally this whole book could be highlighted and just used as my favorite quote of the year. I love this one. I am gonna read you one quote from this because I don't feel like it's a spoiler, but it says, every touch, every brush of his fingertips across my skin had a weight to it, a reverence. Like I wasn't merely some girl to kiss and remember fondly in 10 years, but someone to be kissed in 10 years, in 20. Like that. I wasn't some girl to be kissed and like remembered fondly, but like I was someone that was going to still be being kissed by this man in 10 years and 20 years. Like, I'm sorry, I love that. More books that have amazing quotes is like the Shatter Me series. I love Aaron Warner quotes throughout the entire Shatter Me series. If you know, you know. If you've read them, you know his quotes are amazing. He's like a top tier book boyfriend as well. And then Some Kind of Perfect, like my tabs are through the roof. And this is an epilogue novel. It's literally book 10 in a 10 book series. So I cannot redo these quotes or I will spoil something for you. Absolutely, I'm not gonna spoil the Addicted Calloway Sister series for you. I would never do that. So I'm not going to read you specific quotes, but this whole book, yes, I was highlighting, tabbing, annotating. I love the emotions in this book, the quotes in this book. I cried on multiple occasions. Amazing book. I'm getting repetitive here, and that's just because I love this book so dang much. But question 19 is the book with the most unique concept. The 7 Year Slip. So if you don't know, this is about an apartment that Clementine inherits from her late aunt. And when she steps foot in this apartment, sometimes she is transported into the past. So she goes 7 years back in time, and that's actually where she meets the love interest. So there's like parallel timelines going on, but the 7 year in the past is like, it's like concurrent with present day. It just only exists within her apartment. I don't know, this concept was absolutely mind-blowing to me, and I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, but super unique, super creative, and I ate it up. I loved it. Again, kind of getting repetitive here, but it's just because I love it, I have to be honest. Question 20 is a book that you would reread. Some Kind of Perfect. Honestly, I have thoughts about rereading the entire Addicted Calloway Sister series. I just have so many other great books on my TBR that I need to get to before I consider rereading such a big series. Like that's a pretty big commitment. But this book as a whole, I think I would reread just on its own, like as a standalone, since I know the lead up to it. I adore this book. It is one of the most emotional, heartwarming, heartfelt, amazing books ever. I just love how they wrapped up the series. I love it, love it, love it. I would definitely reread this book, and that says something because I'm not a big rereader. All right, now it's just time to chat for the next two questions. So question 2021 question 21 is reading goal reflection and 2024 reading goal. So I took this completely differently than I saw Des take it, and she went with like her GoodReads reading goal. So I actually liked the way she did that because I was not thinking about it that way. I was just thinking about like deep philosophical reading reflections, getting all emotional and heartfelt, and yeah, I like her way better. So my GoodReads reading goal for 2023 was to read 80 books because I read 60 something last year. So my goal was to read 80 books in 2023, and it is currently December 6th, and I have read 126. So I have no life. I had no social life this year. All I did was read, and I'm happy about it. So here's my little GoodReads reflection, if you can see that. I definitely sold myself short by only setting my goal for 80 books. I'm definitely gonna aim a little bit higher next year. 126 books by the beginning of December was way more than I thought I could get, but I did it, and I think that's pretty cool. In terms of my 2024 reading goals, knowing how busy I'm going to be with like career, and I just bought my own house, so I'm gonna be like a homeowner, I think I'm probably gonna set my goal at, I was thinking 100, but I think I might really set kind of a reach goal and do 120. I'm not sure because I definitely have longer books on my TBR for 2024. So like there'll be less, I'll be reading the same amount, but less amount of books. You know what I mean? I have a lot of Kristen Hanna on my TBR. I have a lot of fantasy series on my TBR, which are heavier, longer books a lot of the time. So I think 120 is definitely going to be a reach goal for me for 2024, but that's where my mind's at right now. Question 22 is, after 2023 reading, what are you prioritizing in 2024 reading wise? So I think for me, 2023 has taught me that I do enjoy series. I was very much a standalone only girl. I didn't like the commitment of series, but I think the Addicted Calloway Sister series and the Shatter Me series confirm, and the Naturals, confirmed that I really do enjoy series. I like longer periods of time to be able to follow the same characters and really get to know them and love them. So series will be prioritized, and I want to push myself to read more fantasy. This last year has been mainly romance with some thriller and like the tiniest sprinkle of fantasy. I really want to push myself to read more fantasy, become a fantasy girly. I feel like there is a romance to thriller to fantasy pipeline when you become a reader, and I was very strong in my romance books. I still love romance. I will never not read romance, I don't think. I adore a good rom-com. I adore a good standalone romance. You know, all the things. I like a spicy romance. I like romance books. But I do want to push myself to read more fantasy. I want to read like Divine Rivals. I want to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I want to read more fantasy in general and just kind of expand my horizons. All right, book besties, that is my 2023 reading recap, end of the year book tag. I love these questions. I love end of the year recaps. I am so glad that Des posted this and I found this tag because this was so much fun. I will leave all the questions in the description box. So if you do this tag on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on anything, please tag me because I'm obsessed with watching these videos lately. So please tag me if you do your own spin on this, and I will definitely watch it and comment and chat with you about it. I love these so much. But that's all I have for today. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future videos. I have some super exciting things planned for the rest of December and into the new year. I cannot wait for you to see what I will be filming and uploading, and I have a lot of exciting ideas planned in my brain. So we are in for it for a great 2024. I cannot wait to take it on together. Here's to a new year of happiness and love and joy and many 5-star reads coming our way. I can't wait, and I'm so glad you're coming along with me. Thank you for being here, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, book besties. I look like a toddler when they steal their parents' phone and they run around like this. You know what I mean? Okay, bye.